Comparison. Comparison is sort of just rooted in interaction, right? It's hard to have a conversation with someone and not sort of compare yourself, right? Or talk about the interaction.
I'm wondering if it is possible for you not to compare yourself to anyone. Given that, you know, you're looking at one interaction against another, the role comparison may play, and if it's possible for you to live without it in your own life.
Live without interaction. Yeah, I mean, the two come hand in hand, right?
Yeah. I mean, when you compare, what information are you getting? I mean, why do you compare?
I mean, there's something like really elementary about comparison. So there's Darren and I are collaborating with a group of neuroscientists here who study something called mirror neurons. What these mirror neurons do is encode actions that you perform with your body. So they would, help the body reach out to grasp a coffee cup, say, and take a sip. Turns out these same sort of action neurons also fire when you watch someone else perform the same action. I would say there is this this base of interactive or sort of comparative quality to even just observing, right?
Yeah, comparative, but also it seems like there's recognition, right? I mean, comparison to me has a connotation of measurement in some way, right? So I don't know, when I find myself comparing myself to someone else or to something else, it's always to see where I stand in relation to that, right? And I'm wondering if I can be free of that movement, right, of measuring.
I mean, right, so they're just the issues are so complex, right? So who's the I in that, right?
Right.
At some level you already, initiated the comparison by looking, right?
Yeah. Academics is a competitive environment. I mean, you guys seem to be shielded quite a bit, but still you will be compared with other researchers that almost apparently unavoidably you will start comparing yourself with other scientists, and I can imagine only that that can cause a lot of stress, strain, pain, whatever. So, and now this is for you a particular field, but it seems to be that comparing ourselves with others is one of a great cause of human conflict and suffering, internal conflict, and sometimes it goes into external conflict. Knowing that, seeing that, it seems to be happening anyway. Can you imagine a human brain not comparing and still functioning fully within the human brain? Right.
I mean, you framed comparing in a negative light, right? You talked about it as providing all these negative emotions for all of us.
Yes.
Which is, of course, I mean, part of it. But to suggest that comparison always leads to negative emotions seems a bit trivial, right?
Yeah.
I mean, clearly comparison in terms of academic progress gets us quite far, right?
Yeah.
Comparison in terms of a child watching another kid and learning how to manipulate blocks or learning how to build Legos. Right? Comparing your design of a structure to somebody else's design of a structure, right? I mean, these all have positive results, right? I mean, comparison isn't by any means negative, right? I mean, it has huge positive consequences.
Yeah, no, I think that's actually a really illuminating way of looking at it. I wouldn't say the cause of suffering or conflict is in the moment of comparison. It's sort of in the moment of mistaking that you're fixed at the spot, and that the other person is fixed at a spot further along than you.
Yes.
And
yes.
There's a sort of mistake that time won't play out and allow me to develop my skills in a certain direction.
Or believe that you should be in a different place than where you're at.
Exactly. So I really feel the comparison is quite healthy too, especially in academia, to know to even recognize that someone has expressed something with more clarity than you, and you think wow, I could develop that skill. I could actually, be a better communicator.
Yeah.
But like the mistake would be thinking, I can't do that. I can't communicate. This guy's better. I'll never be that good, right? So like there's some like extra step that you've taken
Yes.
that makes the comparison
Negative.
like essentialize the negative. While I would say that the initial comparison is actually quite healthy because it opens up certain state spaces and ways of looking at the world that you wouldn't have noticed if you like went off in a forest by yourself. And,
but wouldn't you say that the big part of our life is like that? That extra step? that extra step is being brought in all the time?
Yeah.
Typically what for you that extra step is? Where does it go? Where does it go haywire?
I mean, I really, I'd have to think about it.
Yeah, I'm not, I mean, like there are better dancers in the world than I'll be, right?
Oh.
Always.
I mean, always, right? And for me to say that, because I recognize that they're better than me, right? Or Einstein, right? I mean, his understanding of relativity is so far beyond what I'm capable of understanding. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. I mean, the comparison maybe comes when we start attributing value to these things, right? So you believe in whatever it is you believe in that God or that political alignment or whatever, right? And then, but we don't value that, and we don't respect that, value that. And how could you do such a thing, right? Maybe that's where, out of comparison, we get conflict.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't think it's just that it's just value because, like, when someone tells you a great story, like you really value it, right? Like it sticks with you maybe for your whole life. It's just something that was like a real experience, and you think like. I'm not a very good storyteller. Like I could learn to like craft narratives when I talk in sort of in like more engaging ways. And like there's something valuable. I would say like in having the thought that storytelling is like quite nice. So even though you're not there yet, you would still know that that's a sort of value worth pursuing.
Yeah.
So I think it would still be healthy to compare with value, right? But I think I guess I would say like the mistake would be in thinking of yourself as sort of
absolute.
Absolute, yeah. And in many ways, like defined by the way other people sort of have looked at you, and even defined by the way you've looked at yourself up to that point. That we often don't realize like our full potential because it becomes like closed off by the narratives that other people form about us. So the comparison and seeing value in other people's lives and in other people's experiences. Could be sort of quite healthy in helping you sort of formulate new experiences in your own life.